Now, starting this morning, the IDF has warned you to get out of harm's way. I urge you, take this warning seriously. Don't let Hezbollah endanger your lives and the lives of your loved ones. Don't let Hezbollah endanger Lebanon. Please, get out of harm's way now.
This is a dramatic escalation. Will this spill into a full-on regional war, a full-on ground war? I think that depends on what Hezbollah does over the next several days. But we're certainly seeing an escalation here and a war between Hezbollah and Israel.
Open thy doors, O Lebanon, that the fire may devour thy cedars. Howl, fir tree, for the cedar is fallen, because the mighty are spoiled. Howl, O ye oaks of Bashan, for the forest of the vintage is come down. There is a voice of the howling of the shepherds, for their glory is spoiled, a voice of the roaring of young lions, for the pride of Jordan is spoiled.
You have the pager attacks, and you had the radios, now you have this. How much of do you think they were able to get surveillance or GPS locations from those pagers as well, and now they're able to hone in on remaining Hezbollah commanders? You know, you mentioned the way America's put its thumb on the scale, usually telling Israel to pull back. Why is it that this administration, Harris, Biden, seems so hell-bent on accelerating the war in, say, Ukraine, in expanding it, widening it, giving more capabilities to the Ukrainians to launch into Russia, but time and time again, pulling Israel back and saying we need to de-escalate their existential fight against Hamas and Hezbollah?
Israel and Hezbollah are old enemies. Tonight they're in a new war, and the people of Lebanon are caught in the middle.
It was an historic moment. Palestine, newly recognized by the General Assembly, submitting a draft resolution for the first time. It builds on a recent ruling of the International Court of Justice that found Israel's ongoing occupation of Palestinian territories illegal under international law.
The law is not there to merely serve as a measuring stick of violations. It is there to prevent those violations, and when that does not work, it is there to punish them, to bring them to a halt, to ensure accountability, to ensure justice.
The UN says 6 of its employees were among those killed in an Israeli airstrike over a school in Gaza that was being used to shelter displaced people. The strike has sparked outrage from UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres, who called what's happening in Gaza, quote, totally unacceptable.
The United Nations taking action in New York.
The Assembly will now take a decision on draft resolution A's.
That wide-ranging resolution demanding within a year Israel brings an end without delay its unlawful presence in the occupied Palestinian territory. The General Assembly delivered strong support, 124 in favour. Israel and its closest ally, the US, among the 14 members opposed. 43 abstentions, including the UK, Canada and Australia.
The Hebrew word for comet that is coming, again, be very excited about this, is the Hebrew word, don't read it as shavit, but read it as shavit. Shavit is the Hebrew word for comet. Therefore, there is a hint. There is a hint within it itself that there will arise a comet during this time. This can really be a hint to this comet that is coming up on the special day of Briat Olam, the creation of the world, the birthday of creation, as well as the heavens and the earth. Now, that is coming again, beginning 24th, 25th of Elul, the night, September 27, 2024. Here in Israel.
You guys need to be aware that in both tables that I'm going to show you, 1 year exclusively comes up, and that is the latter part of 2024.
Let's put all this together now. We have it written again in the Torah, and a staff will arise. Our great sage Rashi comments about these words that it will rise a king who rules dominantly. Then we have the word Shavit. Shavit is a secret to the hint of the word Shavit, which means comet.
In the latter part of 2024 is when I believe we will see this thing emerge.
Now understand that though the Zohar gives us a date of this event, being again on the 6th day, on the 6th month, And then it says on the 25th, goes even further, on the 25th of that month, which corresponds to the Hebrew calendar, the month of Elul. You take a look on our fixed calendar that Hillel set up for us long time ago, and you'll see that the 25th of Elul never will occur on a Friday. However, understand now that this year will be the closest alignment to this calculation, where literally Friday will be the 24th of Elul, and thus on Shabbat, on the onset of Shabbat, but on Shabbat itself will be the 25th, and therefore the 25th actually will fall out on Friday night, on the 25th.
You have Yaakov, or Jacob, that is connected to Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh here. A star from Jacob, okay?
There is going to be a special comet star that has been traveling for thousands of years, and it's heading very close towards our Earth, and it will become manifest in exactly this time period, beginning on Friday, or Shabbat, September 27th, 28th.
But it comes up underneath a vertical anomaly of the long spelling of Nibiru, you guys. This is not an accident that this word crosses over in the end of days.
On the 25th of Elul, 2024, which again is the Shabbat, which the 25th of Elul, the Hebrew month, corresponds to the date, anniversary date of Briat Olam, the creation of the earth.
We have Kakav, the star, and judgments come together. The word Ibrim, which is the Hebrews, is a signal.
Experts, Star of Jacob will appear on Friday, September 27th. That's this year.
Wormwood also connecting with that right here in the top. This term also, the destroyer, that comes together. Also, the phrase 7 days is here 3 times.
As this storm starts to develop in the Gulf of Mexico, in this position right here at midnight on the 26th, there's a possibility that Tampa Bay could drain of all its water once again.
It's Ezekiel. One of the chapters in there, I can't quite remember which one it is, talks about a war. And there's also mention of a festival. And that festival is the one that they hold in September, which happens to be the one coming up in September. I think that's the war that Ezekiel was talking about.
Something else blocked out the sun during the crucifixion. It was not the moon. It was not the moon. The moon does not block out the sun for 3 hours.
There's 88 constellations. And out of the 88, it's pointing to one constellation, which is Sagittarius. And not just anywhere in Sagittarius, but on the ecliptic. Because there's 3 fixed points now. You have 2 points on Earth's orbit, and the third point is the sun. Well, with 3 fixed points with only a gap of 150 days, does not give you leeway for it to be pointing at pole or south or any other direction. It points it directly on the ecliptic or planetary plane of Earth, which puts that on the ecliptic right there in Sagittarius.
We were intense, and Dana Coverston is literally holding a mic, and all through the dream, he's just retelling his dream, just constantly retelling his September dream. And that's all we're doing the whole dream, guys. And then I kept seeing the number 26. 26.
So the stage is being set for that to happen. Once again, you can see the offshore flow of this storm as it's developing in the Gulf of Mexico early on the 26th, making landfall sometime in the afternoon on the 26th.
I kept hearing Gorgarian calendar. Gorgarian, I hope I'm saying that right, but that's what I kept hearing, and I got up and I looked that up. Obviously, I was trying to look it up with the number 26.
Moon is headed our way, at least for a little while. This one will be much tougher to see than our regular moon, of course, because it is quite a bit smaller. It's a so-called moon. It's tiny, tiny, making it difficult to see even if you have a telescope. The asteroid was spotted in August by an astronomy group called ATLAS, or Asteroid Terrestrial Impact Last Alert System. That sounds important, and it is. Don't worry, though, this space rock is not going to hit the Earth.
Not true.
And what I saw was this big moon, and then this smaller moon.
This was a body, another planet or something, object in the sky that was not the sun. Now, it looked like it could have been another moon because of the color, but that was because of the haziness. And I don't even know, like, if it wasn't for the clouds or the haziness in the sky, that if I would have been able to see this object or not.
And behold, a white horse, and he that sat on him had a bow, and a crown was given unto him. And he went forth conquering and to conquer. And lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, A measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. And when he had opened the second seal, I heard the second beast say, Come and see. And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death.
We'll start with a boom. First of all, it has already started.
It has started?
As far as I could see, it has started. It started on September 11th, 2015. It has already started.
On the 27th of Elul last year in 5775.
This year, yes. Last Hebrew year.
We are in 5776, so it started last year, 3 days before Rosh Hashanah. Gog and Magog started.
Yes, that war has already started.
So why don't we sense anything?
Because God won't bring it at first. What will happen one certain day, it will just erupt.
This declaration about Mount Seir is related to our time. Why? Because Kamala's name is all through it. And of course we have Tishri, the month, which lines up with Gregorian September, right in here too.
Behold, the Lord maketh the earth empty, and maketh it waste, and turneth it upside down, and scattereth abroad the inhabitants thereof. And it shall be, as with the people, so with the priest, as with the servant, so with his master, as with the maid, so with her mistress, as with the buyer, so with the seller, as with the lender, so with the borrower, as with the taker of usury, so with the giver of usury to him. The land shall be utterly emptied, and utterly spoiled. For the Lord has spoken this word. The earth mourneth, and fadeth away. The world languisheth, and fadeth away. The haughty people of the earth do languish. The earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, broken the everlasting covenant.
The draft calls on Israel to withdraw its troops, stop building settlements, and give back the land it has taken by force since 1967, all within 12 months.
A two-state solution needs to be the product of negotiations.
Providing more offensive weapons to continue this disastrous war would be immoral. It would also be illegal.
Everyone will come against us. They will unite and come against us.
Because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, broken the everlasting covenant. Therefore hath the curse devoured the earth, and they that dwell therein are desolate. Therefore the inhabitants of the earth are burned, and few men left.
There is going to be a special comet star that has been traveling for thousands of years, and it's heading very close towards our Earth, and it will become manifest in exactly this time period, beginning on Friday, or Shabbat, September 27th.
I will also gather all nations, and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations, and parted my land. And they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for an harlot, and sold a girl for wine, that they might drink. Yea, and what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon, and all the coasts of Palestine? Will ye render me a recompense? And if ye recompense me swiftly and speedily, will I return your recompense upon your own head, because ye have taken my silver and my gold, and have carried into your temples my goodly, pleasant things.
So on September 18, before I slept, I heard God spoke to me. On October 10, there will be a big disaster.
TCRB will appear 1,500 times brighter than usual, making it the 50th brightest star in the night sky. Jubilee, 50. This nova may just be the star of Jacob Balaam described as presaging the appearance of Messiah. TCRB is a binary star system made up of a red giant and a white dwarf. They orbit each other every 228 days at about half the distance between Earth and the Sun. In this case, the Earth-sized white dwarf is slowly stripping hydrogen from the ancient red giant. Once enough hydrogen accumulates on the white dwarf, the growing pressure and heat trigger a thermonuclear blast that will be visible from Earth. As TCRB is 2,630 light years from Earth, light from the system requires 2,630 years to arrive at Earth. The nova we will see occurred over 2,000 years ago, but its light will reach us next month. Now again, interesting points they're making in the article. It occurred 2,000 years ago, more or less the time that Messiah came and died for us and went back to heaven. And now, 2,000 years later, the light will reach us. Just like the Lord is going to reach down and snatch us very shortly before the time of Jacob's trouble. Balaam, a Gentile prophet who came to curse Israel but couldn't curse them, Polvanov said. Instead, he gives a prophecy that actually says, I will tell you what will happen at the end of days. What I see for them is not yet. What I behold will not be soon. A star rises from Yaakov, a scepter comes forth from Israel. It smashes the brow of Moab, the foundation of all children of Shet. Numbers 24:17. Now they also reference in this article that Christians believe that this scripture refers to the coming of Jesus the first time, which we do, and they say it doesn't. They thought it was some other guy, and then it turned out it wasn't that guy, and then they parked this whole prophecy because they didn't want to get wrapped up in it. Now they're dusting it off and bringing it out again and saying, whoa, this could be the star, Messiah could be about to arrive, and. So yes, 2,000 years ago, Jesus came, and 2,000 years later, he's coming again for his bride. And 7 years after that, he's coming in judgment, and he will have a scepter, and he will rule for 1,000 years. So it is an exciting article. It is interesting that it's referring to the Star of Jacob right before Jacob's trouble. So it is something to keep our eyes on and watch. One more sign in the heavens. There will be multiple signs in the heavens and the skies as we look up, showing you the events and the signs of the times all around us. Be excited, be overjoyed, keep looking up, keep following Jesus, and keep sharing the gospel with everyone you can.